What if one day the leader of your nation walked into the ocean and never came back? No warning, no goodbye, just gone. On a warm Sunday afternoon in 1967, Australia's Prime Minister did exactly that. The sea swallowed Harold Holt, and the country never got its answers. This is the story of how a man at the peak of power vanished without a trace. The Prime Minister who vanished. The mystery of Harold Holt. Traces of Truths presents. Harold Edward Holt was born in 1908 in Sydney, New South Wales, to working-class parents. From a young age, Harold showed ambition. He was sharp, eloquent, and athletic, a natural leader. After graduating from the University of Melbourne with a law degree, he entered politics at just 27. In 1935, he won the federal seat of honor. That marked the beginning of what would be a rapid political ascent. Over the next 3 decades, Holt served in several key portfolios, including as Minister for Immigration and later as Treasurer under Robert Menzies. He was loyal, competent, and widely liked. By 1966, Menzies retired after a historic tenure, and Harold Holt stepped into the spotlight as Australia's 17th Prime Minister. At 58, he was energetic, media-savvy, and determined to lead Australia into a new era. But beneath the smiles and press appearances, something else was brewing. Holt's time as Prime Minister came during a turbulent period globally. The Vietnam War was escalating. The world was watching. Holt aligned Australia firmly with the United States, famously declaring, "All the way with LBJ," referring to U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson. The phrase became iconic and polarizing. Under Holt's leadership, Australia increased its military commitment in Vietnam, sparking nationwide protests. Domestically, he pushed for immigration reform and supported the 1967 referendum to include Indigenous Australians in the census, a progressive move applauded by many. Still, the pressure of office weighed heavily. Friends later said Holt looked exhausted, even haunted. Some noticed he had begun withdrawing, missing cabinet meetings, forgetting details, and spending more time at his Portsea holiday home. But no one expected what came next. It was a sunny Sunday, December 17, 1967. Harold Holt was vacationing at his beachside home in Portsea, Victoria. That morning, he invited a small group of friends to drive out to Cheviot Beach, a rugged, secluded stretch of coast he knew well. Holt had swum there countless times. He considered it a private retreat. Around noon, the group parked and made their way down the sand. The tide was choppy, the currents unpredictable, but Holt didn't hesitate. Stripping down to his swimming trunks, the Prime Minister ran toward the surf. One friend reportedly called out, "It looks rough out there, Harold." He turned, grinned, and waved. Then he dove in. They watched as he swam out and out until a wave crashed, and he was gone. Imagine standing on a beach and watching your country's leader disappear beneath the waves. No splash, no scream, no sign of struggle, just silence. One moment, the man running the nation is there. The next, he's vanished. That's exactly what happened at Cheviot Beach. Within an hour, the beach was swarming with emergency responders. By sunset, the Australian Navy, Air Force, police divers, and helicopters were combing the coastline. Boats dragged the waters. Planes scanned for movement. Even abalone divers joined in. But there was nothing. No body. No wetsuit. Not even a shoe. The search lasted days. Media crews camped on the beach. Crowds gathered, hoping for a miracle. But Harold Holt had disappeared. Completely. On December 19th, just 2 days later, he was officially declared missing, presumed drowned. The country was stunned. How could this happen? No sitting Prime Minister in Australia or world history had ever simply disappeared like this. And the questions started coming. The official explanation? An accidental drowning. That Holt, weakened by exhaustion and possibly suffering from a shoulder injury, was pulled under by a powerful rip current. But that answer didn't satisfy everyone. Why would an experienced swimmer like Holt go into dangerous surf? Why didn't he call for help? Why was there no sign of a struggle? Then came the theories. Theory 1, suicide. Some speculated Holt overwhelmed by political pressure and personal struggles, chose to end his life. But those close to him refuted this fiercely. He had made plans for the holidays. He had spoken excitedly about upcoming policies. Theory 2, assassination. Could a foreign government, opposed to his Vietnam stance, have taken him out? Far-fetched, but in the Cold War climate, paranoia was high. Theory 3, the Chinese submarine theory. One of the wildest ideas came from British author Anthony Gray. He claimed Holt was a Chinese spy, extracted by submarine. The idea became so infamous that it was a subject of ridicule and eventually urban legend, but it stuck in the public mind. Theory 4, accidental rip. Most experts agree the sea was exceptionally dangerous that day. Cheviot Beach is known for its underwater reefs, sudden currents, and hidden rips. If Holt was caught in one, it's likely his body was pulled out into the Bay Strait and never recovered. But without a body, the mystery only deepened. To this day, no trace of Harold Holt has ever been found. No grave, no definitive closure. Just a headstone in Melbourne that reads, "In loving memory of Harold Edward Holt, presumed drowned." Holt's disappearance plunged the Australian government into sudden chaos. With no succession plan in place, the Governor-General had to step in. John McEwen, leader of the Country Party, was sworn in as caretaker Prime Minister. Just days later, John Gorton was elected as Holt's formal successor. Internationally, leaders sent condolences. U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson mourned Holt as a valiant friend of freedom. British Prime Minister Harold Wilson called it a grievous loss. But inside Australia, the political landscape was shifting. The Vietnam War remained divisive. The public's trust in government institutions was fraying. And Holt's vanishing act had become more than a tragedy. It was a myth in the making. In the years that followed, Harold Holt's legacy was honored in strange ways. A swimming pool in Melbourne was named after him, the Harold Holt Memorial Swimming Center. Many saw the irony, even humor, in naming a pool after a man who drowned, but it stood as a symbol of remembrance. Holt's name entered Australian slang. To do a Harold Holt became a way of saying someone had disappeared quickly or unexpectedly. Books were written, films were made, and every few years, new theories surfaced, each more bizarre than the last. But what remains is this. Harold Holt was a leader at the peak of his career. He had no known enemies. He had everything to live for. And yet, he vanished without a trace on a beach he loved. History remembers men by the legacies they leave behind. But Harold Holt is remembered for what he left undone. A nation still wonders, what really happened in those waves? Was it fate, or was it something we were never meant to know? Sometimes the deepest mysteries aren't buried in files or courtrooms. They're swallowed by the sea. And the truth? It never surfaced. Subscribe to Traces of Truths for more forgotten stories, missing persons mysteries, and untold chapters of history.